add in our tree for a simple act because we forgot to do that. We already have it annotated. But what we need to do is add in what the older generation learned. And in this case, that would be Lori. And then what the younger generation learned, and that would be Maurice. And so in this story, it was actually really easy to go back and find our words of the wiser because it all happened at the end. It was kind of their reflection paragraph of what they learned at the end. And we wrote it down already that Laura, her lesson was she learned to be grateful. Maurice learned to trust because it was that Ernest Hemingway quote. So we already have the words of the wiser listed in here. We just need to transfer it over to our graphic organizer. So I'm going to keep this story handy. And I'm kind of running out of room, so I'm going to have to kind of draw a line up here. And just like we did with Tutors Teach Seniors, we're going to put in the title first. So we're going to say, in quote, a simple act. And we have to name the person or the older person. So in this case, it would be Lori, just like we did for here. We said it was the seniors. So in a simple act, Lori learned to be grateful. Okay, and I'll box that off because I don't have a highlighter to highlight it in orange. So that's the title, that's the character, and this is what she learned. But now we need text evidence just like we did for here. So we're going to say, for example, comma, and we have to go back to the text and look at what the quote was. And the quote I have highlighted here says, he taught her to be grateful for what she has and for a chance to share it. So I'm literally going to copy that word for word onto my graphic organizer. For example, he taught, when we say he, we're talking about Maurice. He taught her to be grateful for what she has and for the chance to share it. And then I also need to put the page that I found it on. So if I go back to this page, it is on page 35 of the story. So I'm going to put 35 in parentheses. And there we go. So that is what Lori learned as the older generation from this story. Now we're going to move on to Maurice so that was number 4. We're just going to go across to number 5 here. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put kind of a line right here. And I'm going to say, in a simple act, okay, labeling the title just like I did here. Instead of Lori, I'm going to put Maurice. In a simple act, Maurice learned, and if I look back here, he learned to trust. So I'm going to put that in there. Learned the value of trusting others, period. And because I don't have a highlighter, I'm just going to box off the lesson that they learned. Okay, so then I need to go ahead and put the text evidence. So I'm going to say, for example, comma, and I actually have to put that words of the wiser quote in here, which is the best way to find out if you can trust someone is to trust them. And that is from the author Ernest Hemingway. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there word for word. I'm going to copy it off the text. So for example, quote, the best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. And I'll move my hand here in just a second. And that is on page 35 of the textbook. Okay, so go ahead and pause the screen so you can write this down for what Maurice learned and the quote with the page number. Go ahead and do that right now.